Off to listeners' questions, Tobes.
Yes. Do you want to do the first one?
Well, Matt's emailed in or messaged in.
Oh, yeah, Matt.
And we're going to save that one, Matt. So your question is very, very good, and it's who do we think...
It actually needs a proper conversation between us two.
Yes.
And I don't really like talking to Damo on a daily basis. So
do you want to tell the viewers, the listeners, what his question was?
Well, it's quite long.
Yeah. Roughly it is.
Roughly, it's about the NFL have traded, or the Rams have traded one of their picks.
Yes.
For a quarterback and then another couple of rounded picks. Something like that. I don't really know the ins and outs of the draft system, but it was more to do with the money-wise.
Who we thought,
yes,
or who we thought would get the most in a what is it? The draft system. But so like, let's say, when Bowden Barrett first became available.
Yeah, speed, good with his hands, not a great kicker. So who would be our sort of money-wise would be the best for us?
Yeah. So we're going to have a real good talk about that, and we'll bring that one back next week. But all of these, funnily enough, are all about NFL and the similar things that we can do. The conversation we had last week seemed to really twig with a lot of our...
I think a lot of people like the draft system.
Yes. I think it would be fair to say we've had no one say anything negative about the draft system and the opportunity to do it. So here goes one from Di Perk, a great supporter of the show. Hey guys, hope you're safe and well. If you're a running back in the NFL at the peak of your powers and suddenly decides to play rugby, you're the coach of the team that signs him. How long do you need to get him to play at club level? And what about test level? Now, running back is a defensive position, is it not?
No. Running back is the bloke who sort of stands behind the quarterback who gets the ball. So he's not he's not necessarily throwing the ball.
I got you.
But he's the guy who gets it. He's short, quite stocky, rapid,
fast, good feet, strong,
well
super
balanced.
Strong.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's a great question.
I think it's easier for someone from the NFL coming to play rugby.
I disagree.
You disagree?
And I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But I think a running back, where would you play him?
You'd either play him in the centres or a wing.
Yeah. So the issue there is a running back would be fantastic in the centres at a very small part of a centres game. Okay. So his natural instinct is to get the ball and run.
But he's also
never pass.
Well, no, because you can't though.
No, exactly.
But the thing is that he is very aware of defenders. So if you taught him to pass and taught him to pass at the right time, which, it could be 1 week, it could be half a year.
Yeah.
But he is very aware of the defenders because that's his role. He's going to be so quick on his feet.
So I think he'd have to play on the wing. You'd put him on the wing. You couldn't play him in the centres.
Okay. Not initially.
Not initially.
Okay.
Not for quite a while until he got all of those skills. And that would take quite a while. But on the wing, less so.
Yes.
Big time. But here's the big thing that the problem is. Defence. So he's very good at attack, but he's never had to think about that spatial awareness, making those decisions. Now, what I would say is, I reckon it's still very, very doable on the wing, but I'm going to say it would take 2 years. 2 years to get him up to speed enough to play at a high Super Rugby level. So you have to play club rugby for
a long time.
2 years.
Yeah.
And then he'd have enough knowledge to play at Super Rugby and then test level, because Super Rugby's almost, if you can play Super Rugby well, you can play Test Rugby, in my opinion.
That's
going back the other way, though.
That's a bit cool.
What do you think?
What about rugby going to NFL?
No, as an NFL going to rugby.
A running back, I do think it would be hard, but I think if you got your passing right, I think as a running back, like I was saying about being aware of the defenders, I think you'll be able to do it. But again, like you pointed out, the defence is huge.
Defence is absolutely massive, yeah. But in saying that, if you took another position, let's just say...
What about a tight end?
Tight end, right?
Yeah.
And you played them at lock.
Yeah.
I reckon...
They're big boys.
I reckon like 6 months.
Are they fit enough?
Probably not.
Because they're powerful.
But they block as well, don't they? They block, they run, they've got good hands, they've got good height.
But when you say run, they run for 10 seconds max.
Yeah, I know,
and not at full speed.
Okay, but they're very used to training hard. They're very used to training regularly. And if they want to, then
they do no contact in training.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm trying to say is, if you put them into that environment, they will just do whatever they're told to do fitness-wise. They will get fit.
But no NFL player would come to rugby.
No, because of the money.
Yes.
But tight end, I think you could put them into second row, and you could do it pretty quickly.
I think so.
You could do it pretty quickly.
Because they've got the hand-eye for it. They've got the grunt for it because they're blocking.
Yeah.
It's just the defensive stuff.
And I think also...
teach them how to tackle properly. Teach them how to jump in the line out. Teach them how to push and scrum.
Yeah, but...
There's a lot of things to do, but...
There's a lot of things to do, but far less.
But will they be able to do all of it to a high level?
I just think they would, you look at guys like...
I guess they're all professionals, aren't they?
Who was it? I'm forgetting now. Oh, he got done for... He's a bit of a loose cannon. He's second row. Used to wear hair. Ali Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Ali Williams only started playing rugby when he was 18. Okay?
Yes.
And he could do it. This is a guy that played football. So, you're looking at, I think, a tight end skill set is much more closely aligned to rugby than a footballer defender. So, therefore, if Ali Williams can do it, then so can a top tight end.
Yeah, you're probably right, yeah.
What about the other way, mate? We're going like,
Rugby going to NFL.
Rugby going to NFL.
Well, we've seen a few players.
But what would be the best position to do? As in, going from rugby to NFL, I would say a tight end. And Izzy Flower, we mentioned this before, a really kind of...
Sonny Bill,
yeah.
John Alomu,
he'd probably be the running back, wouldn't he?
Too big.
Yeah. Never too big.
No, maybe
Never
not.
too big, mate.
No,
but there's a bit more, kickers.
Because you've got to be, I think Daniel Carter wanted to be an NFL kicker, didn't he?
I just think you're never going to get a quarterback. You're never going to get anyone being a quarterback. Like anyone that says, Carlos Spencer could have been a quarterback.
No,
he couldn't.
He's not smart enough.
I think Carlos Spencer, if he had played from a young age, could have been a quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got all the skills.
Again, you've got to learn from a young age.
Yeah. Very interesting question. Yeah. But I would say there are guys. Sonny Bill would have been a great cornerback.
A cornerback?
Tight end, sorry.
Tight end.
And Izzy Folau.
So a cornerback is a defender.
Yeah, I think that they could have, they could defend. But
I think
are they fast
Artie
enough?
Surveyor?
Artie Surveyor, yeah. Yeah. Is he tall enough to play?
He's not tall enough, I don't think, to play a tight end.
No.
But he's quick.
You could arguably get a couple of the bigger players to play.
But there's loads of different positions where, they're on that front line and they just go boof kind of thing. But then there's others who are on the periphery who try and sack the quarterback.
Yeah.
Artie Surveyor
would be very good at that.
Very good at that because he's
very good at that. Yeah.
He's bullyish.
Yeah.
He's
quick,
strong, and he's fast.
And he's agile.
Good on his feet.
You could see him getting around that edge.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's loads of different positions, but you only sort of think of the main ones, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Would you see anyone wide receiver? No one's quick enough, really, are they?
No. you've got to be almost Olympic sprinter
Brian Habana?
standard. Maybe.
Does he have good enough hands though? You know, those guys have got amazing hands.
Yeah,
They've
but
almost
they've
got, like,
gloves with glue.
Yeah, but they've almost got like international cricketers' hands.
Oh, easy.
But they're like fast as...
cheetahs.
Yeah.
Right, mate, my question to you. Are you ready for this one?
I'm ready for this one, yeah.
So we had a bit of a dumping of snow today, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
So my question to you. Have you ever played rugby in the snow?
I have kind of played in the snow, but not really. Not like snow like we've had.
Right.
So that's the first thing. So I haven't really played in snow, but I've
Snow
played when
flurries.
it's snowing.
Right.
But not in snow. But I've played many times in a heavy frost.
Yuck,
To the point where you're looking down and you can't see your studs because you've completely encapsulated them in ice.
Yeah.
And that's just run out and play on that, lads.
It's like tackling someone on concrete.
Don't fall on the ground.
So I watched a mate playing rugby down in Sheffield, and it wasn't hard out snow, but they had to shovel the lines so you could see it. So there was a few inches on there.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to play in that. It's too cold.
I've trained my boys in the snow many times.
Yes, but that's fun.
Absolutely, yeah. Right, guys, it's half an hour of passing and then half an hour of making snowmen.
Do you want to build a snowman?
What about you, mate? Have you ever played in horrific conditions? I mean, I've played in some horrific conditions. Even a few years ago, I was playing and it was -5. It was, rain coming horizontally under the eyelids.
Icicles.
Yeah. And, you kind of like, oh, this is okay. And then you went on the ground and your hands just instantly, froze.
I've played where, it's sort of over your boots and water kind of thing. And it's dangerous because if you get tackled, you might drown.
Yeah, exactly. What'd be great is like playing in Canada must be really interesting because... it's like two extremes, really hot, really cold.
Yeah.
So, obviously there must...
Do you think it'll be a short season? Or
must be, mustn't it?
Or they've just got good grounds?
Yeah, I think must be a short season. Must be a short season. Mate,
maybe someone can tell us.
My question to you...
Yeah. What's that, bud?
If I can unzoom and find it. If you could play any pro sport...
Yeah.
What would it be and why?
It would either be golf or tennis.
You like your own company, don't you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Basically, don't like anyone. Don't want to be social.
No, I don't mean
I couldn't do the tennis, mate.
Why not?
Oh, it's just hard work, hey?
Yeah, but...
You know me, I don't like hard work.
But there's so much money in those sports, and the longevity you can actually play at is quite high.
So it's all about the money then?
Well, I know quite like tennis and golf.
Okay. Yeah.
How good was I? How good am I?
At tennis?
No. I
Very
know how
average.
I am. But to do with this question, am I like the top of the rung or am I sort of mid-table?
Oh, right. Got you. No, you can be whatever you want to be.
Well,
top of the table.
Top of the table.
Being the best player, yeah.
Snooker. No. Probably golf.
Yeah. I think it's
Golf's
social enough, isn't it?
Social enough, but it's a technical sport. I know it's not physically demanding.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, they walk a lot. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Yeah. We've had some, yeah.
But it's not like rugby when I say physically demanding. And you get paid loads.
If you're top.
Well, I am, apparently. I am top of the rung.
Yeah, sorry. For me, I think golf's a good shout, but you spend a long time away from family.
I don't have a family.
I've got a family,
yes,
so I'm not going to choose that. I'm going to go, and I'm going to have to say it's NFL. Imagine quarterback, right?
So specialist.
So good.
Yeah, but again, you're away from your family all the time.
No, not so much. Because you only play in America. You're not travelling the world.
Yeah, but if you're a top golf
they have a short
person,
season. Yeah. You get paid oodles and noodles.
Copious
You
amounts.
can play till you're 43 because I'm top of the rug. Yeah. Or
You're
I
the
could
same
just
age as
decide,
Tom Brady.
or I could just
He looks
decide.
way better than you.
Oh man, do you know what I did think that the other day as well? I thought he's 43 and look how good he looks. I'm 41. Look how bad I look.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, I mean, quarterback, you don't get knocked too much. That's the
No.
longevity of the career. You own. I mean, you're super famous, which
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
not 100%. But you could easily, if you wanted to.
But you get scrutinised so much
Yeah.
by your fans and the media.
Yeah,
I
but
think
you can
in
always,
golf-
but you can always blame your teammates,
Well-
can't you? In golf, if you have a bad one, it's your fault. No one else's fault, is
it's
it?
the wind, it's the new clubs, new ball. that
Formula
I'm
One
using.
would be good, but you could die.
You could die, all right, yeah. Formula One would be cool. You're like, yeah.
But
yeah.
no, NFL. I just think it's an awesome sport.
Surfing?
Yeah, love surfing, but no.
No.
I think there's the crowds as well. How
Yeah,
cool would it be to
true.
play in massive stadiums? People say footballers. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, true. But they work hard, eh?
They work super hard. I mean, don't get me wrong, the NFL guys work super hard, but yeah, NFL for me. Talking about the NFL, we're back to our last question.
We've got another question.
Yeah, it's not really a question, but it's a statement from the Razzler Dazzler. And I think he makes a great statement here. And I almost threw up when I read the statement. But then I thought about it at more detail, and he's got a great point. Let me read it out to you. He's talking about the draft system, right? And he's saying, how do you feel about the draft being over Australia and New Zealand, and you could pick from another country? So the Aussie draft, the Kiwi drafts all go into the one combine.
Okay.
And potentially the Waratahs could be picking the New Zealand players.
Okay.
And the New Zealand
And
teams could be
vice
picking
versa.
the Aussie players.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm not sure I like it.
No. I definitely don't like the idea.
Yeah.
But then Razzler Dazzler makes a good point. He said, let's be honest, New Zealand have a lot of Fiji. So do a lot of Fijian Samoans, and even Argentinians are playing in both competitions. Yeah, as it currently stands, it would make Southern Hemisphere rugby much stronger overall, because no longer would you have this dominance by New Zealand over the Australians. Over the last however many years, New Zealand's had more depth. That depth would be shared around. It would be incredibly exciting. And it is truly professional. We would truly move professional. We would move past this provoquial, New Zealand v Australia, and actually it would become the Blues.
It'll never happen.
No. But I have to admit,
It's a good idea.
it's a great idea, and if it did happen, it would take some time to get used to. But I think if you support the Crusaders...
I'm not sure the fans would like it.
Yeah, but it's already happens, mate. Digby Ioane came over from Australia. He's played for Australia.
One person.
Yeah, I understand that, but he came over and he was adored by the Crusader fans.
One
You've got
person.
Sivu Reece, right? Blatantly not from Christchurch. Okay? Adored by the Crusaders. You look at the Crusaders, many of their players don't come from Christchurch.
But they come from New Zealand.
Still love them.
But they're New Zealanders.
It would take a little bit of time to get used to. But people would still support their team.
Yeah, of course they would, yeah. But I can't necessarily see a whole bunch of Aussies coming to the Crusaders.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Okay.
But what I mean is, I don't think it will happen because rugby is still amateur. It's run amateurly.
Yes.
If it was run more professional, then things like this would happen. And it would be good for the game. And again, we've always talked about, we've got
I'm
to
not sure it would be good for the game.
Really?
I don't like the idea of a whole load of Australians or South Africans coming and playing for the Hurricanes or the Highlanders or the Blues. Don't care about the Crusaders or the Chiefs. It would kind of be like, well, they're kind of a mix of international teams, not a Kiwi team.
I agree.
And, it doesn't... Maybe one or two come over and play in the competition. We had Tanaka playing the Japanese.
Yeah.
We had an Englishman, didn't we, come and play for the Blues.
Yes.
Marchant.
Yeah, Joe Marchant. We've had...
I like that.
Haskell before that.
James Haskell, that's right. I don't mind that.
Because, a good example
But it's one person and it's them almost trying to better their skills, get experience.
So Carlos Spencer went and played for the Lions, didn't he?
Yes.
And that never really sat that well with me either.
No.
But I do think, I was out here last week saying that, rugby needs to go professional, and this is a professional way of looking at it. It's a professional way of keeping your competition, one, in the media, and two, very close. So you don't have these problems with one, salary caps and your team suffering because you don't have as big budgets and things like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, we'll find out. We'll see what happens, bud? We're not in charge of it all. So these are useless comments.
If we were, they would have been bankrupt a long time ago. Mate, we're going to finish off the show, and the way we're going to finish off the show is by predicting our winners. Let's predict our final of the New Zealand, the Australian Conference, and I've just gone a very quick one about Six Nations. So who do you think would be in the final of the New Zealand comp?
Blues and Chiefs.
Wow. You're not putting the Crusaders in there.
I was going to say Blues and Crusaders. It'll be out of Crusaders and Chiefs. I think the Crusaders may have a bit of a blip this year.
I agree.
So I think that it'll be Blues and Chiefs, but you can never count the Crusaders out. Ever.
Why the Chiefs?
Because they had such a dull and awful year last year. I think they've had a hard look at themselves and gone, right, well, we need to pull finger, and I think they'll bounce back really well.
I think that the Warren Gatland effect, him not being there, will hold them back. But I agree with you. If Warren Gatland had been in charge over the off-season and into the pre-season, I would agree with you. But I'm going to say it's Blues, potentially the Hurricanes.
Right.
But I do think it'll be Blues Crusaders, and I think the Blues will win. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think they'll win comfortably in that final.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Super Rugby AU?
I don't know enough about the teams.
I'm definitely going to... I'm definitely saying...
Go Reds?
Reds and Brumbies.
Yeah.
But I think this will be the year of the Reds. We've been saying it for the last 3 years.
Well, we thought it, didn't we?
Yeah.
They started off so well and then fell off a cliff.
Yeah. I mean, you can't deny that the Brumbies have the biggest advantage in the fact of their team, of their coaching setup. But I just think that this Reds side will have a bit more maturity. Yeah. And I think in a final situation, they'll pivot this year. What about Six Nations?
It'll come down to England and Ireland.
You don't think France?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about France. It'll come down between those three teams. England, Ireland, France.
Unfortunately, and I hate to say it, I can't see anyone else challenging England in this comp. I think the French will have some very, very good games, but I think
they'll lose to teams that they should win against.
Yeah.
Like what happened last year.
Yeah. Yeah. In England's draw, they've got a couple of easy first up couple of rounds.
Right.
And then they get into the harder games. I think from memory, their harder games are at home. Twickenham. I know there won't be supporters and stuff, but maybe. I mean, I'd love to see France. I'd love to see France win it. I'd love to see Ireland win it.
Yes.
I'd love to see the Scots do well with Redpath and their back line looking pretty sharp. But I think you'd be naive to say that England, with the way that Eddie Jones has got them to play,
they'll be in and around, won't they?
They're going to be in and around. And I don't see Ireland matching them physically. So therefore, Ireland's game's negated. Scotland have more of a chance than Ireland of beating England. And really the only ones that I think can match England would be the French.
Yeah.
But then I think the French will lose to someone else along the way, like they did last time.
It'll be interesting.
So, England to win the Six Nations, mate.
Okay.
That's it for another week, big fella.
It's been brilliant.
It's been, I always enjoy it. Always enjoy it.
Yeah, we had laughed, didn't we?
We actually have done another podcast, haven't we? As in, we did another episode for a friend of ours who needed us to do him a favour, and we will eventually bring it out at some point. But we interviewed Gary Mercer. So Gary Mercer, the Rugby League, Rugby Union legend, Kiwi, and all-round good guy. And we'll bring that out at a later date. But if you wanted to watch it, you can still go across to YouTube. It's on YouTube now. But go across to YouTube if you're desperate for more Super Rugby Podcast.
Right,
and let us know your thoughts. But anyway, as always, it's been a pleasure. Until next time.
See you later.